Mandalorian is a testament to what Star Wars stories can do in a more expanded format of storytelling, an aspect that the most recent trilogy failed to execute on. Before I start this, I want to note, if you haven't seen up till Season 2, Episode 7 of The Mandalorian, this video will contain spoilers, although I'm going to keep them to a minimum. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Lingo News and Lingo Sports for more videos just like this. The Mandalorian series is giving hardcore Star Wars fans what they've been missing. 1. A turn away from the constant Jedi-based stories to focus on more underrepresented characters, and 2. More character development. And it's all told with the main protagonist, Din Djarin, or Mando as he's called in the show, played by Pedro Pascal. Prior to this, the closest we've ever gotten to people of the Mandalorian creed, or the bounty hunters, is Jango and Boba Fett, and neither did much for the audience in terms of teaching us about these prominent pieces in the Star Wars galaxy. And it just shows that movies like this, or trilogies specifically, are difficult to do well. It's hard to give your audience a background into a species or specific lifestyle, or sometimes even a character, when you only have just under 3 hours to work with and a massive amount of expectations from an entire franchise. Within that time frame, you have to pack in a whole storyline which is more heavily focused upon than character development by its nature. The character development is sprinkled throughout the plotline, but it can be eclipsed by the bigger moments of the movie in a fast-moving plotline. Even with a 3-part trilogy, the story and the characters and their importance have a definitive ceiling that they can reach, especially while trying to make each movie stand out on its own. Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian doesn't have that issue, and with a big budget of Disney behind it, there's no drop-off in the level of production and action that fans need. Fans of the lore have been craving for more stories about Mandalorians and bounty hunters, and Favreau's able to give the audience a look into that part of the Star Wars lore in a way never seen before. When you compare it and other Star Wars series like the Clone Wars to the original movies, you see the change in the industry as well. When the first and second trilogies came out, movies meant so much more than TV shows, for instance. They were seen as the higher class of art to the audience, Hollywood, and the actors, which prevented actors from getting into series in fear of being seen as lesser and never getting a chance to hit the big screen. And the reason I'm comparing the series and the new movies is because they have a certain expectation built in coming from hardcore Star Wars fans. A reputation built up by years and years of waiting for more and new and better, crazier things to come from this incredibly expansive universe. The Mandalorian starts off with Djarin very much a typical bounty hunter with his strong beliefs in the way of the Mandalore. He's just surviving, doing what needs to be done, selfishly going about his life for no one but himself, until he finds Grogu on a mission where he is the target. As the series goes on, we see many of his hardened ideologies become less important to him. The transition from a lone wolf fighting for survival every day of his life to a true hero fighting for everyone around him, and in a more heartwarming twist, becoming somewhat of a father to Grogu. For me, watching their bond grow stronger and Mando become more vulnerable with him is the most satisfying evolution of his character. Another big point of development is the realization that other Mandalorians are living with different belief systems. Djarin is shocked and appalled when the Mandalorians he meets on Mon Cala have completely different beliefs. The way of the Mandalore that he and others preach in the beginning are starting to look less and less like the only way and more like a way of the Mandalore. Now, in a movie setting, you would probably have to cut out a lot of the important moments of his progression to this point, or you would leave the movie feeling rushed or a bit hollow. Of course, this video is about the good and the bad, so let's get to the bad parts now. I mentioned that The Mandalorian gives Star Wars fans what they wanted, but there is some moderate criticism from fans that although Season 2 is great, there is some sense that it's being used as a bridge to cameo or test out possibilities for upcoming movies and shows. What we're seeing is what we've seen all too often before, the trend that Lucasfilms and Disney have been tethered to the Skywalker-based timeline with Jedi-focused narratives. It feels like a cheap way to ensure viewers based on the returning names of Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader and Lando Calrissian. And while Rosario Dawson seems like a good fit for Ahsoka Tano, you get an unsettling sense that cameos will be a bigger part of the shows moving forward. A bunch of oversaturated team-ups like the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become. Speaking for myself, these shows on their own do interest me. I'm not going to tell you they don't make me feel nostalgic, but what made The Mandalorian stand out to this point was its originality. Even though it falls in that Skywalker timeline, aside from Grogu, who was previously just known as Baby Yoda, you barely feel that tie to the canon. The Mandalorian is a great story with great characters all on its own. I don't want to end this video on a negative note though, because in the most recent episode there was a great moment with Mando and Bill Burr's character Migs Mayfield. I found it was a really telling line, one that speaks to the originality of everyone involved in this. However, we can't use audio for copyright reasons, so I'll just quote it for you and set the scene. As Migs and Mando drive through a planet, they come across some village with the indigenous people of that planet. The children give the two a cold stare of despise and fear. And so Migs says, quote, "Empire or New Republic, it's all the same to these people. Invaders on their land is all we are. Somewhere, someone in this galaxy is ruling and others are being ruled," end quote. I might be looking too much into it, but hear me out. We've never heard anyone really question the integrity of both the Empire and the Republic in Star Wars before. Almost as if it was blasphemy to let viewers hear the Republic was anything but good. I also think Favreau really wanted us to feel the weight of this statement, not just as a great moment on its own, but something that may be a precursor for things to come. And that gives me a new hope. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this video. It was really fun for me to do as a Star Wars fan, but I'll introduce myself now. My name is Jeff Wall. I do a lot of other videos on our other channel, Lingo Sports, so check that out if you haven't and subscribe as well. But I'm going to be doing more videos on here on Lingo News just like this. More TV, movie related sort of things. So if you have a request, please just drop it in the comments below and I'll get to it for sure. And until the next one, take care.